us. Moving on to the other big issue we're debating today. After dumping the BJP in Bihar, Nitish Kumar is on a 3-day visit to the national capital. In a bid to create a united opposition to take on the BJP in 2024, Nitish Kumar met Congress leader Rahul Gandhi and former Karnataka Chief Minister H.D. Kumaraswamy yesterday. Today he met AAP Supremo Arvind Kejriwal, CPIM General Secretary Sitaram Yechuri, O.P. Chautala of the INLD and CPI leader A. Raja. Nitish brushed aside rumours that he may be the Prime Minister face, saying he has no such desires. These meetings also are coming a few days after another national aspirant, Telangana Chief Minister KCR, met Nitish in Patna. So what is Nitish's larger game plan? With an eye on the 2024 national elections, his bid is to forge a united opposition to take on the BJP in 2024. JDU even put out posters, for example, of Nitish projecting him as the PM candidate, even though he denies such ambitions. Nitish says he's aiming at a main front, not a third front. But there are many regional parties who don't want to come together with the Congress, for example. Nitish will be touring India to convince opposition leaders for a united fight, and his party, the JDU, is all set to launch a membership drive nationally. We'll wait and see how that goes. The big question is, can Nitish be opposition's prime ministerial face? It is always going to be a tough ask with Rahul, Mamta, KCR, Kejriwal in fray. He is also unlikely to get the support of mercurial leaders like Mamta, KCR and Mayawati. There is no ideological glue to bind these parties for a long time, which is what they need. They can come together now, but crumble closer to polls. Seat sharing can also be tricky. Let's not forget, opposition failed miserably to form a united pre-poll alliance in 2019. Even in Uttar Pradesh, such a Mahagatbandhan has failed. The messaging can also be confusing for the voter. They are together nationally, but they are rivals in many states, as we've seen in recent state elections. The biggest issue for the opposition, though, is even if they come together, the numbers don't add up. This is where they stand currently. Combine the Congress, left, JDU, even the TRS that may not be part of a front with the Congress, NCP, SP, JDS and Aam Aadmi Party, they have only 92 Lok Sabha seats. TMC and DMK can possibly add another 40-something. Even that falls short of 150. Let's say you add another 50 to this by 2024. That's still well short of the halfway mark. So is this united front, as always, a pipe dream when it comes to beating Narendra Modi? That's the big debate coming in. Nitish Kumar meeting opposition leaders. Can the anti-Modi brigade unite, if at all? And can they beat Narendra Modi and the BJP?
हम लोग सब अब यही बात कर रहे हैं कि हम सब लोग पूरे देश में सब जो है लेफ्ट पार्टी जो स्थानीय पार्टियां हैं डिफरेंट राज्यों में कांग्रेस सब अगर एक साथ मिल जाएंगे तो बहुत बड़ी बात होगी।
हमारा हार्दिक स्वागत है कि वो अब वापस फिर इस ऑफिस में आए और हम समझते हैं कि ये देश की राजनीति के लिए एक बहुत ही बेहतर संकेत जो है वो दिया गया। विपक्ष की पार्टियों को सबको इकट्ठा होकर आज जो है हमारे देश और संविधान को बचाना है।
देखिए, बिहार बाढ़ में डूब रहा है और मुख्यमंत्री पॉलिटिकल तीर्थ यात्रा पर निकले। ये इसको पॉलिटिकल टूरिज्म कह सकते हैं। तो चुनाव का मौसम है, चुनाव नजदीक आ रहा है लोकसभा का, तो ये सारे दल जो हैं वो पॉलिटिकल पर्यटन पर, टूरिज्म पर निकले हैं। तो इसलिए देखिए, लोकसभा का चुनाव एकदम अलग चुनाव है। इसलिए लोकसभा में जो लोग वोट करते हैं वो कोई आवश्यक नहीं कि विधानसभा में भी उसी पार्टी को वोट करे।
Even as the opposition leaders are meeting and holding these parleys, we don't know whether they will be successful. The BJP is also firming up its 2024 plan. There's a meeting taking place at their BJP headquarters today. Tom Varakan of the BJP, Dr. Sunil Singh of the JDU, Meeta Chakrabarti of the Congress Party, Manojit Mandal from the TMC, Siddharth from Aam Aadmi Party all joining us on the show. Manojit, why don't I start with you? Exactly who is going to lead this main front, not so-called the third front? I don't know whether it's going to be without Congress or with Congress. First of all, what kind of a front do you see forming up at all? And is it going to be Mamta Banerjee leading it, or Nitish Kumar leading it, or KCR, or Arvind Kejriwal?
No, let me start by some sort of a protest against your comment about my leader, mercurial chief minister. I really don't know what you mean by that. I mean, a woman chief minister, the only woman chief minister in the country, was elected thrice by the people of Bengal. Last time defeated two of the most powerful men apparently in Asia. I mean, I think this is a pejorative term to describe a great leader like Mamta Di with the kind of stature that she has. I think you need to, somehow make some course correction. Having said that, our primary goal is to drive the BJP out of power.
Right.
The bigger fight that we are making it amply clear would be fought on the streets of India, where a party which has systematically dismantled the country's economy, its culture, the very idea of India by having an absolutely narrative of exclusionary politics, that party needs to go. The fight for us would be between Bharat, the people of India, and Bharatiya Janata Party.
I get that. That's a very noble cause, Manojit Mandal. Is it not a big concern who the leader is going to be? And first of all, you believe that Congress is going to be part of this front or no? Because you must know this as well as anybody else. There are several regional parties who actually are anti-Congress. But you need them in this front.
You see, our call has been given by the leader, Mamata Banerjee, whose national, picture, I mean, whose stature as a national leader, I do not really need to talk about. She's been there for last 40 years. She has been minister from 1991. Even much before Mr. Modi became, known in Gujarat politics from 2000, Mamata Di became railway minister in Bajpayee's cabinet. I think I do not really dare to introduce her as a politician, national politician. Our goal, again I repeat, who will be the leader of this Gathbandhan, whether Congress will be there or not. We want a united fight against
But that's not as simple as wanting it. We've seen that. Such fronts have failed in the past.
Yeah, the front has failed in the past because it was not staged properly. It was not based on
But can I remind you, the TMC and the Congress couldn't come together even in something as simple as a Goa election. Can I just remind you of that? So there are many a slip between the cup and the lip. But let me go across to Siddharth now. I have liver tight. Siddharth, is Arvind Kejriwal your party which usually eats up the Congress's votes and vote base? Can it be part of such a front? You're meeting Nitish Kumar today. But how are you going to all come together?
Well, a small correction. When we came in Delhi in the first election, BJP had 32 seats. Today it is reduced to 7 or 8 seats. So we gobble up BJP more than anyone else. That aside, that's just a technicality here. Right now, Shivani, India is facing a comparison between two models. One model is of a set of people like Aam Aadmi Party, which says, which feels, and which acts as if the people of India, the 140 crore people of India, are its capital and they need to be nurtured, and that capital has to be invested in. There is another model, which is the BJP model, which says that I am going to gobble up everything that is in front of me for the sake of power. When the BJP gobbles up power and goes for Operation Lotus, it doesn't care whether it is doing against Congress in Maharashtra or a regional party like JMM in Jharkhand, or a party with a massive mandate like Aam Aadmi Party in Delhi, or even its own ally and friend like Mr. Nitish Kumar.
Okay, but how are you going to make it happen? That's the question. Your opposition to BJP is taken.
Yeah, let me complete, Shivani. Shivani, everything has a context. The context, when the context comes, the finality also arrives.
Okay.
So today there is a narrative in India that is challenging BJP, because the whole action of BJP is blowing to smithereens the Article 1 of India, which says about the federal structure and the state governments having certain powers.
Okay.
BJP is acting as if there is no state government, and it is gobbling up state after state.
It is still winning state after state. Need I remind you of the election results that took place earlier this year? So let's not get into esoteric, understandings. I'm asking you a fundamental, practical question. Are you part of a front? One second, Siddharth. Are you part of a front that has the Congress in it? The Congress also doesn't like you very much.
It's not about Congress. The entire evolution of Aam Aadmi Party has been in such a way that we have a coalition with the people of a place. We have a coalition with people of Delhi. We have a coalition with people of Punjab. Today, right now, we are having a coalition with the people of Gujarat. When we have a coalition with people, we try to set a narrative. The narrative is, do you invest in people like
You're not answering the
does,
fundamental questions I'm asking you, and I don't think that these questions are new. These questions arise because in 2019 we have seen such efforts fail. For a long time, the talk of a third front or a united opposition has just not happened. Let me go to Meeta Chakrabarti from the Congress party. How is the Congress looking at these efforts? Rahul Gandhi met Nitish Kumar. But Nitish Kumar, Kejriwal, Mamta Banerjee, KCR, even, the DMK Stalin, they all tower over Rahul Gandhi. They are much stronger regional leaders and chief ministers in their own right. Where does the aspiration of Rahul Gandhi stand in front of them? And is that going to make the Congress uncomfortable?
Okay, good evening to all your viewers and some uninterrupted time, please. Firstly, I would like to quote Mr. Nitish Kumar today after meeting the left leader. He made it amply clear that he's not a claimant for the prime ministerial position as it has been made out in sections of the media. However, he is trying to get the opposition parties together. Let's also remember here that in Bihar, we have a Mahagatbandhan Sarkar, and Congress is part of the alliance. So it's only fair that when he is in Delhi, he will be meeting the Congress national leader, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, and as he has been meeting all other political leaders as well. Now, getting the opposition together in one united front to fight the dictatorship of Modi and Shah, to fight the massive economic failure of the current ruling dispensation, be it in terms of creating employment or be it in terms of controlling inflation, or be it about the divisive politics of BJP, is only fair. And I think all opposition political parties are well within their rights.
Of course they are. Nobody is questioning the attempt, Meeta. Can it happen though?
Just because it has not happened in 2019, make no mistake that it cannot happen in 2024. Do remember that in 2004 and 2019, Dr. Manmohan Singh had led very successful alliance governments under UPA 1 and under UPA 2. So there had been example of very successful alliance governments in the past, even under Bajpayee, former Prime Minister Bajpayee ji. So just because it has not happened in 2019, there is nothing to suggest that it cannot happen in 2024.
But don't you find that the internal contradictions, for example, the question of who will lead and will Congress be the big brother as it is used to, or will it have to confine to a smaller brother role?
Can I answer that?
Yeah.
If you go by pure data, and I will not go by rhetorics here, Congress, even in 2019, when Congress did not perform well, had a vote share of close to 20% nationally. Congress nationally has about 753 MLAs in India today, which is the second position after BJP. The third position, I believe, goes to TMC, about 235 MLAs. Now, if you just go by pure mathematics, by pure arithmetic, it is only but evident that there cannot be any meaningful opposition front to the current ruling dispensation of BJP without Congress playing a major role in it, without Congress playing an anchor in it, playing a fulcrum in it.
Before I go to Sunil Kumar, Meeta, would you like to answer the question? Is Rahul Gandhi a claimant?
I am answering with data.
No, okay, yes, you've answered it. Is Rahul Gandhi a claimant to the prime ministerial position in 2024?
We are not here to discuss prime ministerial candidate in television studios. When it will be decided, when it will be discussed internally within the party and with other alliance partners, it will be announced at a suitable platform.
Okay,
obviously,
but you'll have to come to a name, right? As elections are getting more presidential as it goes. And frankly, just like Arvind Kejriwal cannot be beaten in Delhi unless you put up a formidable name against him, Narendra Modi will possibly not be beaten unless you have a one leader that everybody else backs nationally.
Again, I'll go back to the example of 2004 when you had India shining, when you had a very tall leader in
fair enough. I
Prime
take
Minister
your example,
Bajpayee,
but many would say post-Modi times, politics has changed. BJP did not come back to power twice earlier, but it has now. Times have changed. BJP has become the central pole of Indian polity now, unlike even after Atal Bihari Vajpayee's
two successive wins. I think it's absolutely foolish to write off the opposition parties.
No, nobody's writing off.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. And I believe that the Congress party has to play a very big role nationally for the whether as an opposition or as a united opposition. But it has to. I've always maintained that, Meeta.
It will.
Sunil Kumar, I'm coming to you.
will.
Tom Varakan, I'll give you the final word because it's all versus you and it's all versus Narendra Modi in 2024. Sunil Kumar,
No.
are there not very important contradictions that cannot be ignored when it comes to Nitish Kumar's efforts to bring everybody together? Is this a failed project to begin with?
There is no contradiction, Shivani. The situation countrywide is the country is facing unemployment. 2 crores employment per year was promised by BJP government. That amounts to 8 years, 16 crore unemployment. Rather than generating it, they have resorted to contract appointments, cutting down the whatever job they had. Then the price rise, you can imagine the way people are fussy and frustrated about the price rise. Then you talk about that using the investigative agency as a tool to browbeat the opposition, lowering down the constitutional system that they have. The whole India is just waiting for a BJP Mukt Bharat. This is the right moment that somebody should take the plunge. And Honorable Nitish Kumar has taken up the cause of uniting the whole opposition because the nation demands it. If nation is there, then is the opposition, then is the ruling party. So nation demands BJP.
And is he the
Mukt
PM
Bharat.
candidate, as some of your posters suggest?
No, right now this is not the situation, and that thing cannot be discussed on the media, on TV. Who will be the leader that will unfurl at the right moment? Right now, you must be imagining that within 2 days, the way Honorable Nitish Kumar has achieved the target, meeting people, and everywhere he's getting a very strong vibes. And that is sufficient.
Sunil Kumar, meeting has not achieved anything, and strong vibes don't mean anything. I mean, look at how many differences these parties have, and look at what the BJP as an electoral machine is, sir. Realistically speaking, even if you come together, you have a broader vision to beat the BJP. Ideologically, what is holding you together?
Shivani, the socialist thing and saving the nation. The nation wants BJP Mukt Bharat, and the way, common people, I'm again repeating it, the unemployment, it has risen so much, the price rise, the inflation, the communal disharmony, the caste disharmony. I mean, nation is just wants BJP Mukt Bharat.
Okay, fair enough. I've run out of time. Let me give Tom Varakan some opportunity to respond to everybody. Are you not worried, Tom Varakan, even though the numbers I showed don't suggest that they can give at least the majority that the BJP has a challenge, but times can change. There's still some time to go. Also, after 2 terms, anti-incumbency becomes a big factor. Tom Varakan.
Shivani, after patiently hearing to all your panelists, I wish them all very well. This endeavor to have a strong opposition is something that the BJP and our Prime Minister desires. Yes, we wish them all the very best in this onerous task. And we have this Messiah of Bihar who's just, changed sides and is coming to Delhi, and this political tourism of meeting leaders and assuring them that he is the leader, and at the same time saying that he's not a candidate. It's the same style he used to do. And he's assured himself the chief ministership in Bihar. But I think there is a tacit understanding with RJD that he will play this front foot game, come to Delhi, try this exercise, test waters, and see how.
Are you worried, Tom Varakan?
No, not at all. We are all for it, Let him come and expose himself. How many times has he changed alliances? Does anybody in any political system trust this man? I'm not personally.
No, but okay, forget Nitish Kumar. What about others? Mamata Banerjee wants a front against you. KCR wants a front against you. Stalin wants a front against you. Arvind Kejriwal wants a front against you. Congress wants a front against you. If they all come together, possibly the voter will be compelled to listen.
Shivani, we welcome all of them in their desire to form a strong opposition party, and we also wish them well that they get the electoral returns that they desire. But point here is people of India have woken up. They realize that this kind of khichdi sarkars that they formed will not deliver the goods.
Okay, I have to leave it at that. Unfortunately, I've run out of time. I thank all of you for joining us. But we will, of course, continue to look at these efforts in detail as days go by. Time for a very short break. On the other side, the day's biggest stories.